They never saw your worth when they had you. That's the truth you've got to wake up to. They thought you were just another option, just another name in their phone, just another body to pass the time. They didn't see the value standing right in front of them because they weren't looking for something real. They were looking for something easy, and easy doesn't last, easy doesn't challenge you, easy doesn't build legacy. You were never meant to be easy. You were meant to be unforgettable. But they didn't recognize that, and that's not your fault. That's on them. You gave more than most people ever would. You stayed solid when you had every reason to walk away. You gave them love, you gave them loyalty, you gave them consistency in a world full of temporary feelings and half-hearted efforts, and they threw it away like it meant nothing. They walked away from something real thinking they'd find better. And now they're lost, they're confused, they're wandering around searching for what they had with you, but it doesn't exist. Not out there, not with anyone else. You don't replace real, you don't replace rare. You just regret losing it, and make no mistake. They will regret it, maybe not today, maybe not tomorrow, but one day it's going to hit them hard. They'll be sitting alone, surrounded by noise, fake people, shallow conversations, and they'll remember the peace you brought. The presence, the energy, the way you cared, the way you showed up, and that memory will sting. That memory will haunt them. That's not your burden to carry anymore. That's their cross now. But the real challenge isn't about them, it's about you. It's about what you do when the apology finally comes, when they realize what they lost, when they try to spin the story, rewrite the history, and come back like nothing happened. That's when the real test begins. Because healing isn't just about letting go of them. It's about standing strong when they return. It's about understanding that just because someone regrets losing you doesn't mean you have to let them back in. They didn't leave by accident. They made a choice. They looked at you and they looked at their options and they walked. Let that sink in. They walked away from someone who would have given them the world, and now they want to come back because they've realized no one else was built like you. But your time, your love, your energy, those are not things to be recycled. Once someone wastes them, they don't get a second chance. They had you and they lost you. That's the consequence. Too many people fall into the trap of nostalgia. You remember the good times, you remember the laughter, the connection, the plans you made together, but don't forget the silence. Don't forget the nights you stayed up questioning your worth. Don't forget the times you had to beg for the bare minimum. You weren't asking for luxury, you were asking for effort, for consistency, for respect, and they couldn't give it. That's not someone who deserves to be in your life again. You can't build a future with someone who left you in ruins. You can't grow with someone who only comes back after the work is done. Where were they when you were rebuilding yourself? Where were they when you were alone in the struggle, fighting battles they never even saw? They weren't there, but now that you're rising, now that you're leveling up, now that you're glowing with peace and purpose, they want to reappear. Let that be a red flag, not a reunion. It takes strength to walk away from someone you still care about. But it takes wisdom to understand that caring doesn't equal compatibility. Love alone isn't enough when it's one-sided. Relationships are not charity. You don't give and give and give just to prove your loyalty. Loyalty is not a one-way street, and the second you make peace with their absence, you gain the clarity to see what you were tolerating all along, the bare minimum, the half-efforts, the lies disguised as promises, and you survived all of it. You didn't come this far just to circle back to what broke you. You didn't spend all that time healing just to let the same person destroy you again. You owe it to yourself to stay free. To stay clear, to stay focused, because going back doesn't just mean letting them in. It means betraying the version of you that worked so hard to move forward. They thought you'd always be there. That's the mistake people make when they're dealing with someone loyal. They confuse loyalty with weakness. They assume your silence means you're waiting, that your kindness means you're naive. But what they don't see is that while they're out playing games, you're outgrowing. You're out building, you're out becoming someone they'll never deserve again, and by the time they realize it, you're already gone. That's why you must never beg for the same energy you give. You must never chase someone who turned their back on you when all you wanted was to build with them. If someone can leave you in the dark, they don't deserve to see you shine. Let them sit with their decisions. Let them live with their loss, because the longer you stay in the past, the more you delay your future. People think you're cold when you don't take them back. They say you changed, that you became distant. But the truth is, you just woke up. You stopped letting emotions control your decisions. You stopped letting broken people dictate your peace. You learned that not everyone who misses you deserves a seat at your table. Some people only want to return because the door is still open. So close it, lock it, burn it if you have to. Your peace is worth more than another round of chaos. You've got to train your mind to understand the difference between history and destiny. Just because someone was part of your past doesn't mean they're meant to be part of your future. Some people were only there to teach you what not to accept, what not to tolerate, what not to become. They were lessons, not lifelong partners, and once you learn the lesson, you don't need the teacher anymore. They'll act like they've changed, they'll say the right things, they'll paint a pretty picture. But words are cheap. Real change shows up in behavior, not promises, and if you take them back, you're gambling your future on the hope that they've suddenly become who they should have been all along. That's not love. That's desperation, and you are not desperate. You are disciplined, you are determined, you are dangerous in your new form. Never forget. Peace is more valuable than attention. Your solitude is more powerful than their presence. And your growth is more sacred than any second chance. Don't let loneliness fool you into entertaining what you've already outgrown. You're not where you used to be, and you're not who you used to be. So don't go back to the version of yourself that accepted less just to feel loved. There's a storm coming for them, and it's not you. It's your absence. It's the realization that the one who had their back is no longer reachable. That the one who cared the most is no longer available. That the one who stayed through the worst won't be around for the best. That's the punishment they chose when they chose to walk away. And you don't have to lift a finger. You don't have to fight. You don't have to explain, just keep building, keep shining, keep elevating, because the higher you rise, the harder it becomes for people who left you to find you again. That's how you win. Not by revenge, not by shouting, not by proving your worth to the very people who couldn't see it. You win by living, you win by thriving, you win by becoming someone who can't be reached by the same people who once thought they had you forever. Because they didn't lose you when they walked away. They lost you when they assumed you'd never leave. Now they have to live with that assumption for the rest of their lives. Regret is a slow poison. It doesn't hit like a punch, it creeps in, one thought at a time, one memory at a time, one silent moment at a time. That's what they're dealing with now. It's not loud, it's not dramatic, it's quiet. It's haunting. They scroll through their phone at 2 a.m., hoping you'll post something they can read into. They replay conversations in their head, analyzing what they should have said, what they could have done, and how they let you slip through their fingers like dust. That's the punishment. That's what it means to lose someone real in a world full of fakes. They thought you'd always be available. They assumed your love was endless, like a well they could draw from whenever they were thirsty. But even the most abundant source runs dry when it's abused. You poured into them while they drained you. You gave more than they even realized because they were too blind, too distracted, too entitled to see it. But now they see, now they feel it, because everything they touch doesn't feel the same. No connection matches what they had with you. No one listens like you did. No one sees them the way you did. And it's driving them insane, but here's what matters. You're not that same person anymore. You're not sitting around waiting for closure. You're not replaying the past, wondering if they're thinking about you. You've evolved, you've upgraded, you've become someone they can't access anymore. That's what stings the most. It's not just that they lost you, it's that they can't get you back. You didn't stay stuck in the cycle. You didn't let heartbreak define you. You turned pain into power and silence into strength. That's the move most people can't make. Most people beg for closure. Most people open the door just to hear the same excuses, the same lies, the same manipulative language. But you shut the door, you locked it, and you threw away the key. They thought they could play the game and win, that they could break you, disappear, and return when it suited them. But they didn't realize they were setting themselves up to lose everything. Because when you left, you didn't just leave physically. You detached emotionally, mentally, spiritually. You stopped hoping. You stopped waiting. You stopped checking your phone, stopped rereading old messages, stopped wondering if they were ever going to change. You chose yourself, and that's the choice they never saw coming. They will tell themselves lies to cope. They'll say you changed. They'll say you're cold now, that you never really cared, that you're selfish for not giving them another chance. But deep down, they know the truth. They know they pushed you too far. They know they crossed boundaries you warned them not to. They know they gambled with someone irreplaceable and lost. That knowledge will torment them. Because life doesn't give you many chances to meet someone who would ride for you the way you did. And when you mess that up, there's no redemption. And now, the same person who once ignored your worth wants another opportunity. They want to rewrite the story they tore apart. They want to come back into your life like a ghost trying to haunt a house they no longer live in. But the chapter is closed, the book is done, you've moved on. You're not bitter, you're not angry, you're just done, and that level of peace, that unbothered energy, that's what they'll never understand. They expected tears. They expected emotional breakdowns. They expected you to wait. But you didn't. You rose, you reinvented yourself, and now they don't even recognize the person you've become. You didn't glow up to be petty. You didn't level up to flex on them. You did it because you had no choice. You had to rebuild after they left you broken. You had to find meaning after they gave you none. You had to create a new identity when the one you had was tied too tightly to their approval. And now that you've detached, they want to reattach. But that version of you that tolerated less, that forgave too quickly, that overlooked red flags, that version doesn't exist anymore. You've got new standards now, new boundaries, a new mindset. You're not letting anyone in who doesn't come correct. Because you know the cost of entertaining the wrong people, you felt the weight of loving someone who didn't value you, and you promised yourself never again will you accept breadcrumbs. Never again will you fight for someone who wouldn't fight for you. Never again will you beg for clarity. Never again will you carry someone who had the strength to walk away. Let them regret it. Let them sit with the silence. Let them watch you win from afar, because the truth is, your life got better without them. Your peace returned, your focus sharpened, your goals became clearer. You weren't held back anymore. You weren't questioning yourself. You weren't walking on eggshells, you were free, and that freedom became your fuel. That's why you're unstoppable now, because the pain they gave you became your power. It forced you to grow. It forced you to dig deep and become the version of yourself that doesn't beg, doesn't chase, doesn't settle. You don't need closure. You don't need apologies. You don't need validation. The only thing you needed was time and space. And now that you've had it, you've seen the truth. You didn't lose them. They lost you. You were never the one who lacked value. They just lacked vision. They couldn't see your worth, not because it wasn't there, but because they were blind to anything they couldn't control. And now they're on the outside looking in, watching your growth, watching your peace, watching your name rise while theirs fades, watching your energy glow in rooms they can't enter. That's the real consequence. Not blocked numbers or unread messages. The real punishment is knowing they had the real thing and treated it like it was disposable. But what they didn't expect is how quiet your revenge would be. No angry messages. No dramatic outbursts, no posts aimed at them, just silence, just success, just you minding your business and thriving in the aftermath of their disrespect, and it eats them alive, because they thought you needed drama to stay relevant. They thought you needed them to feel whole, but now they see that you were the one bringing light, not the other way around. That's the moment they realize they messed up, when they see that you're not even trying to make them regret it. You're just focused, you're just happy, you're just working on you, and that's the deepest cut, knowing you became better without them. They'll never admit it out loud, but it keeps them up at night. They'll wonder if someone else is loving you the way they never did. If someone is treating you with the care they refuse to give, and they'll never get that answer, that mystery, that's the consequence of losing access to you. This isn't about revenge. This isn't about ego. This is about self-respect. You decided that your peace was more valuable than a one-sided connection. You chose discipline over desire. You chose growth over comfort. And now, you're living proof that walking away was the best thing you ever did. Because sometimes the people we think we need are the very ones holding us back. And the moment you cut that cord, everything you were meant to be begins to emerge. Don't look back. Don't entertain the messages. Don't reply to the calls. Don't let nostalgia trick you into revisiting a chapter that nearly destroyed you. Remember who you were when they left. Remember how it felt to rebuild yourself from the ground up. That wasn't easy, that wasn't fun, that was war, and you won that war, so don't lose the victory by giving the enemy a second chance. They made their choice, they let you go, and now they live with it? You've got no reason to revisit the pain, no reason to open old wounds. Life moves forward, and you've got places to go, goals to hit, levels to reach. Your future is too valuable to gamble on someone who already proved they can't handle your presence. They will regret losing you, that's guaranteed, but your job isn't to comfort them. Your job is to keep becoming the version of yourself that doesn't flinch, doesn't fold, and doesn't entertain people who fumbled your love the first time. Because once you know your worth, you stop offering discounts, and once you've healed, you stop looking back. Let them regret it. Let them watch you rise. Let them sit in the silence, but never let them back in. Not this time, not ever again. Let them miss you. Let them ache in the silence they created. Let them stare at the closed door they once slammed, knowing it will never open again. You are no longer the person they left behind. You are stronger, wiser, sharper, and more focused. You are living proof that survival isn't enough. You evolved, and now you thrive. This is your era of elevation. You don't beg, you don't chase, you don't explain. You walk forward with purpose, knowing your worth no longer negotiates with people who couldn't see your value when it mattered. You are the lesson they will never forget, and the blessing they'll never get back. So keep your head high, your heart protected, and your energy reserved for those who earn it. Because once they lose you, the only thing left for them is regret, and that is their burden to carry for life. You keep rising, you don't go back. You build a future so powerful, it makes your past look like a test. And you passed it?